Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel. Why are there two toothbrushes in your gym bag? That's what I asked. That's literally how this entire disaster kicked off. Not accusations. Not tears. Just a question, blurted out at 6:18 a.m. While she made her smoothie like nothing in the world was off balance. She blinked, tilted her head like she misheard. Then she chuckled, laughed. That's when I knew. Not because of the bag. Not because of the texts I hadn't read yet or the receipts I hadn't found. But because of that laugh. Short, sharp, guilty. I didn't sleep that night. I had a weird feeling. A kind of static buzzing in my ribs. When she got home late and went straight to shower, I peeked in her gym bag like a complete idiot who needed one last clue. And there they were. Two toothbrushes, side by side in a zip case. I didn't even plan to ask her. But it just slipped out with the morning breath and regret. She stood there holding frozen blueberries like they were about to save her. I was going to tell you, she said. Tell me what? That I'm seeing someone. But it's not like you think. Oh, okay. Cool. Casual infidelity. No biggie. Then she said the part that broke something inside me. He doesn't want to take me away. He wants to share. I felt my hands go cold. Like my fingers didn't belong to me. All I could say was, "This is your last chance to leave." She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Then I guess I'm staying." She said she was staying. Just like that. Like it was a decision about dinner plans, not the crumbling remains of a marriage. I didn't know what to do. My brain short-circuited, but my mouth, always quicker than my spine, mumbled something about needing air. I grabbed my keys and left. No jacket, no wallet, just my body moving through the motions of escape. I drove around until I ran out of gas. Literally. Pulled over into a gravel lot behind an abandoned hardware store and just sat there, listening to my heart beat so hard it echoed in my ears. She wanted to stay, but not for me. That much was clear. She was choosing comfort, stability, a man who files taxes and loads the dishwasher. Meanwhile, she had her little secret world with Griff, a name that sounded like it belonged to someone with gym selfies and motivational quotes in his bio. When I finally got home, after paying for gas with quarters and small bills from my glove box, she was curled up on the couch, scrolling her phone, like nothing had shifted. "You didn't come back to talk," she said. "You came back to feel sorry for yourself. I wish I could tell you I stood tall and roared something clever. But I didn't." I sat down across from her, knees shaking, and asked the worst question a man can ever ask. "Do you love him?" She hesitated, long enough to tell me everything before she even opened her mouth. "I don't know what love means right now," she said. That sentence hit harder than anything else. She wasn't apologizing. She wasn't crying. She was negotiating the rules of a game I never agreed to play. Then she handed me her phone. "Go ahead," she said. "Read it all." I shouldn't have looked, but I did. And what I saw wasn't vulgar or graphic. It was worse. It was tenderness, inside jokes, voice notes that sounded like us a decade ago. That night, I slept in the guest room. She didn't come after me. She just closed the door to our bedroom and left it that way. I thought telling her to leave would make her go. Turns out she was already gone. She just hadn't packed yet. The next morning, she was already dressed before I opened my eyes. Not for work. Not in her usual cardigan and scarf combo. She wore heels, makeup, a dress I hadn't seen in months. One she said didn't fit anymore. I heard the sound of a zipper from the hallway and then the scent of her perfume. Not the floral one I liked, but something sharper, different. "Going out?" I asked, trying to sound casual, like I hadn't spent the entire night staring at the ceiling. She didn't even pause. "Gallery brunch. Board members." She was lying. I could tell by how she didn't look up from her phone. I nodded, said nothing. I didn't have the strength to challenge it again. But something inside me itched. A new version of myself waking up, one that didn't want to be naive anymore. After she left, I sat there for what felt like an hour, listening to the silence she left behind. And then I did something I never thought I'd do. I opened her laptop. Not to spy, not to destroy trust. I think I was just hoping for something that made sense. a reason, a clue. What I found was a message draft. One she hadn't sent yet. It wasn't to Griff. It was to his wife. It started with, "You deserve to know the truth." My hands trembled as I scrolled. She described their affair, their meetups, their plans. And then, the line that broke me all over again. "He says he loves us both in different ways. Maybe there's a world where this isn't betrayal, just something evolved." I couldn't finish reading. I closed the laptop and backed away like it had burned me. So this wasn't just cheating. It was an arrangement, a philosophy, and I was the one without a handbook. That night, she came home humming. Same tune, again, and asked me if I wanted to eat. Like we were fine. Like nothing had imploded. I sat at the table across from her and said the first real sentence I'd managed all day. "You're planning to tell his wife?" The look on her face said everything. Not guilt, not shame, just surprise. As if I'd been quiet too long and she'd forgotten I had a voice. She didn't deny it. She just stared at me, her fork still in midair, like my question about the letter had interrupted a movie in her head. Then, finally, she said, "It's not what you think." That's the thing with her now. Every betrayal is wrapped in that same line. A blanket excuse meant to soften the blow, as if words can sand down a wrecking ball. "I wasn't going to send it," she added, pushing a cherry tomato around her plate. "It was just a draft. Therapy told me to process things on paper." I wanted to ask what therapy she meant. When had she been going? Alone? With him? But the words got stuck somewhere between disbelief and cowardice. Instead, I said nothing. She took that as permission to keep talking. She always does. "You act like I'm some monster, Wally. But you stopped seeing me years ago. You don't touch me. You don't ask me how I feel. You fall asleep with the TV on and forget your own anniversary." Griff made me feel visible. And there it was. The confession under the confession. This wasn't about toothbrushes or voice notes or hotel brunches. It was about her turning me into the villain to justify rewriting her story with someone else. "Did you tell him that you were still sleeping in our bed every night?" I asked, finally summoning some spine. "That you laughed at my stupid jokes and asked me to rub your back like nothing was broken?" She looked away. "I never lied to him." She said it with pride. That she had told him the truth, while feeding me half versions of reality and calling them kindness. That night, I didn't sleep in the guest room. I didn't sleep at all. I sat on the porch and listened to the wind knock against the mailbox like it was trying to escape too. In the morning, her coffee mug was gone, and so was she. No note, no explanation, just silence so loud it pressed against my chest like a weight I couldn't lift. And then at 10:04 a.m., I got a text. From him. The message was short, just 3 lines, but it hit me like a punch I never saw coming. "She's not with me. She said she needed time. I think she's playing us both." I stared at it for a long time, reread it, questioned whether it was some kind of trap. But no, it was real. I checked the number against the call logs I'd seen on her other phone. It was him, Griff, the guy I'd built up in my head as a gym-dwelling, smooth-talking villain with no conscience. And now, he was sending me warning signs like we were teammates in a game neither of us asked to join. I didn't respond. Couldn't. What was I supposed to say? "Thanks for the heads up. Other man sleeping with my wife?" I spent the next 2 hours pacing, phone in hand, spiraling. If she wasn't with him, where was she? Why tell me she was going to the gallery if she had no intention of showing up there? And why would Griff, of all people, start getting nervous now? At noon, I called her. No answer. At 1, I tried again. Straight to voicemail. By 2, I was driving. Not sure where. Just moving. I went to the gallery first, closed for renovations. Then to her sister's place. No sign of her. I even called her mother, which I hadn't done since that Thanksgiving disaster in 2018. No one had seen her. It was like she had vanished. Then, at 4:47 p.m., she walked through the front door like it was any other Tuesday, shopping bag in hand, hair freshly done, sunglasses still on. "You okay?" she asked. No apology, no explanation, just that I didn't answer. I couldn't even look at her. Instead, I asked the question that had been clawing at my brain since Griff's message. Did you tell him I was pathetic? Her face didn't move, not even a blink. Then she sighed, set her bag down and said, "Is that what this is about now?" That's when I realized something terrifying. She wasn't just drifting from me. She was erasing me. She didn't apologize. She didn't even flinch. Instead, she sat on the edge of the couch, crossed her legs like we were about to start a civilized debate, and said, "You've been spiraling since the moment I told you the truth. Maybe that's the real issue." The truth? That wasn't truth. That was a confession with conditions, with loopholes, with emotional gymnastics that turned her betrayal into my dysfunction. I told her Griff had messaged me. Her eyes narrowed instantly, not with surprise but irritation. "What did he say?" She asked flatly, as if she already knew. I read the text aloud. She stared at me for a long second. Then, to my complete shock, she laughed. A quiet, sharp laugh. The kind you hear at a dinner party when someone accidentally insults the host. "Of course he did," she said. "He's just mad I didn't choose him." "You didn't choose anyone," I said. "You just lied to both of us and disappeared." Her response was so calm it chilled me. I needed space. You and Griff were both suffocating me in different ways. That's when it hit me. She didn't see this as betrayal. To her, this was evolution, a natural shedding of obligation. She wasn't cheating, she was exploring. And if I couldn't keep up, that was on me. I asked her if she was done with Griff. Her answer? "I don't know yet. Maybe. Maybe not." That was it. No closure. No commitment. Just a woman dangling her marriage on a string, watching how long I'd keep reaching for it. "You think this is a phase?" I asked. She shrugged. Maybe you're the phase." That one hurt, deeper than I expected. Like she'd just taken a scalpel to my identity and peeled it away in one sentence. That night I didn't sleep. Not because I missed her, but because I finally saw it clearly. She had rewritten our entire story, and in her version I was a detour, placeholder, the safe guy you keep around until your real life begins. And the worst part? I still wanted her to stay. The next evening, just when I thought things couldn't get more twisted, she asked me to dinner. Not let's talk dinner. Not I'm sorry dinner. But an actual reservation. A new bistro she'd heard about from a coworker. Like we were back in some version of our marriage where none of this ever happened. "I think we should try," she said, smoothing her blouse in the hallway mirror. "Not everything has to end in fire." I said yes. Not because I believed her, but because I wanted to see what she looked like when she pretended nothing was broken. The place was small, candlelit, with waiters who spoke too softly and menus without prices. She ordered wine. I ordered water. She talked about her work as if it hadn't been 3 days since I found out she was sleeping with someone who claimed to love us both. I nodded and watched the way she smiled at the waiter. It was the same smile she used to give me. Halfway through the meal, she said, "Griff messaged me too." I clenched my fork. "And?" "He said you were falling apart. That you'd gone through my laptop. That you were making him out to be a manipulator." I didn't answer. Then she leaned in, her voice suddenly low. "He also asked me if we'd be open to something unconventional. Said he wanted to meet." I laughed. Couldn't help it. It wasn't a happy laugh. More like the sound someone makes when they finally understand just how deep the betrayal goes. "So now you're inviting him to dinner, too?" She didn't laugh back. She reached into her purse and pulled out her phone, tapping on the screen before turning it toward me. A message. From Griff. He deserves to hear it from both of us. That's when it clicked. The dinner wasn't a peace offering. It was a setup. Somehow, I had become the guest of honor at my own humiliation. And as the waiter brought the dessert menu, I saw the shadow behind her. Tall, confident, walking toward our table like he belonged there. She smiled, and I finally understood. This wasn't about love. This was about control. He sat down across from me like it was his table. No hesitation. No shame. My wife, or maybe just the woman who used to be. smiled at both of us like she was proud of her performance. For a second, I felt weightless. Not in a good way. Like I'd slipped out of my own life and landed in someone else's scripted disaster. Griff folded his hands. We just want to talk, man. No drama. That word, we, almost made me laugh again. I looked at them, the perfect pair, smirking, ready to deliver some evolved pitch about love without boundaries. A future where I stayed quiet and grateful just to have a seat at the table. And I realized something so obvious it stunned me. I didn't need to be there. Not physically. Not emotionally. Not anymore. So I stood up. Calmly. No grand speech. No accusations. I just said, "You've made your choice. Now I'm making mine." She blinked. Griff raised an eyebrow. But neither of them moved. Maybe they thought I'd come back. Maybe they thought I had nowhere else to go. But I did. That night, I packed a single bag. I left the house keys on the counter. No letter. No guilt. Just silence, the kind that isn't heavy anymore, but finally light. I moved into a short-term rental near a park I used to walk before life got too noisy. I bought myself a real journal, not a digital one. And every morning, I write one sentence. I matter, even if I'm not chosen. She texted a few times. Nothing cruel, just breadcrumbs. I didn't follow them. Griff never reached out again. And me? I started laughing again. Not the broken laugh I used to cover pain, but real laughter. The kind that bubbles up when you finally remember who you were before someone else started writing your story for you. So no, I didn't win her back. But I won myself. What would you have done if you were in his shoes? Would you have stayed at the table? Or walked away? Comment your thoughts below, we read everyone. And don't forget to subscribe for more emotional stories right here on Reddit Confessions.